So now let's get some analysis on Obama's choice of language. Is it okay for the black president to use the N-word, or did he cross the line of what is appropriate? Did he engage or offend the nation, or just distract from the issues? Time to take the race relations debate stateside. Joining me now from Washington, Danielle Moodie Mills is a Democratic strategist, and Gianno Caldwell is a Republican strategist. Danielle, maybe I can start with you. As you know, the White House press secretary took a lot of questions about the president's use of the N-word. They said he was justified. Do you agree?
I do think that he was justified. One, we wouldn't be having this conversation right now had he not. And I think that that's really important to recognize. And two, the reality is that the president doesn't do anything that isn't calculated, right? That's part of the job. And so I think that we have too much focus on the N-word, as if you don't use it, then that means that you're not a racist. And that was the point that President Obama was trying to make, is that it's not about the word, just like it's not about a flag, it's about the DNA of America. And until we have consciousness around that and that understanding, then we're never going to heal from the gaping wound that racism has made.
Gianno, I wonder if you think she's got a point there. That this was a good way to reach a different audience, make a point, get people talking. I mean, if he hadn't used the word, probably we wouldn't be doing this interview and nobody would be talking about his comments on race today.
I tell you, this attempt by the president to keep it real just went wrong. Since the president's policies have not been helpful to the black community or impactful, or anything that he's done just about helping the movement of the African-American community forward, he's looking to take every opportunity he can to say something to appease the African-American community. Since there have been a number of folks that have said things, black activists, people that are well known in the black community, folks that have helped him get elected in 2008, since those folks have been coming up and saying things that he doesn't support the African-American community, he doesn't speak up on issues, he wanted to say something that was going to grab their attention. This is problematic, and it's offensive, because if there was a Republican, say Speaker Boehner said the exact same thing that President Obama had said, Danielle would be saying, hey, this guy had said something that was very racist and is troubling, which is true. No matter if you're the president of the United States and you happen to be black or not, it is offensive and it is inappropriate to use. So I think no matter what, people would be talking about his use or conversation on race regardless. If he used the N-word or not, people would still be talking about it.
Danielle, you want to jump on that, right?
No, I disagree. People would not be talking about it. And of course, obviously, if a white person uses the N-word, out of context or in context, it is problematic in general. So there is no comparison between a Speaker Boehner using it and the President of the United States using it. There is a huge difference there. Well, the reality is that we have a problem in America, and it is not based around a word. And that is what the president was saying. Just because you do not use the N-word, because it's now not appropriate to use it in polite conversation, does not make you not a racist. And that's what it is that we have to understand. Just because Nikki Haley says that we should now take down the Confederate flag doesn't mean that all of a sudden she's for justice and equality for black people.
Caldwell,
we have to be
Danielle,
real about that.
I tell you, I'm an African-American man, as you're an African-American woman, and I can tell you that if either one of us went into a corporate boardroom and used the N-word, we will be looking for work within that hour. So I think it's disingenuous to say that just because he's the president of the United States and he's a black man, that he gets to elevate the conversation on race in America.
Absolutely not.
This is the highest level office in the country, in the world, President of the United States of America, and he should not disregard disregard the office that he holds. People will talk about race in America regardless if he brings it up.
John, they will talk about race in America regardless, because the only reason why we're having conversations about race right now is because there are black bodies that have been littering the streets. Okay, right. That's the only reason why we're having these conversations. So there is no proactive conversation on the part of our government to have conversations about racism and the structures that it upholds, whether that be our judicial system, our schooling, our housing, and so forth. And so it is really important for us to take these moments and take these opportunities. And I don't think that it was disrespectful to the office office. I think that he was talking about this word as if taking the power away from it to say that just because you don't use it doesn't make you not a racist.
Let me. I want to save some time here to talk about the other big issue that's come up today, and that, of course, is the Confederate flag. The Republican governor of South Carolina, as you both know, has just called this afternoon for the removal of the Confederate flag from the state capitol. I'd like you to just take a quick look at what Governor Nick Haley just said.
The flag will always be a part of the soil of South Carolina. But this is a moment in which we can say that that flag, while an integral part of our past, does not represent the future of our great state.
Now, as you both know, some see the flag as a symbol of tradition, heritage, blah, blah, blah. Others see it as a symbol of racism. I take it you can both agree on this, that the flag should be taken down. Am I right? Gianno, do you want to go first on that?
I would say that I applaud the Republican governor for taking this step. If this is what her state wants, then they should very well remove it. And as you know, the only way that they can remove it is legislatively. So it's going to take a bill to be passed in the House and Senate to get that flag removed and put in what President Obama called a museum. So if that's what they want to do, I think it's a great idea.
They need a 2/3 vote to do that, though, right?
Yes, they do. They need to vote in order to do that. And I want to, I am tired, honestly, of patting politicians on the back for doing the right thing. And so, no, I'm not going to applaud Nikki Haley for succumbing to the glare of the national spotlight and the call and the Twitter campaigns that have said take the flag down.
Well, let me ask you about that, because
is she going to whip the votes?
Is she going to
whip the votes?
You just applauded President Obama on his action in using the N-word in his statement. So
no,
how is it that you're not going to apply?
No, I did not applaud the president. What I said is that we wouldn't be having a no. I did not applaud the president. What I said is that we wouldn't be having the conversation about his speech had he not done that.
Do you recall the statement? God damn America. Reverend Wright in Chicago used that word, and that elevated the conversation on race in America. President Obama's former pastor. He was then U.S. Senator Barack Obama, and that conversation was had without him ever using the N-word. And everybody talked about it. Conservatives, Democrats, they both applauded the president for talking about it.
Pastor Wright.
Could I just put this to you, though? That Danielle has a point about the Republican governor of South Carolina, because just on Friday she said it was too soon to have this conversation about taking down the flag, right? So I guess it's public outrage across the U.S. that changed her mind, isn't it?
Right. And let's remember, Gianno, let's remember this, because I would really want to get your opinion on this. Let's remember this, that Nikki Haley is calling for the flag to be taken down today, and she is the same governor that has championed voter suppression laws that are just as abusive and offensive to African Americans in her state as the representation of that flag.
So I want to know,
should we pat her on the back? Should we pat her on the back for this?
Voter ID laws, like you have to show your identification to vote?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So the same law that you're talking about, I was required to walk into this building and show my identification. I have to have an identification to have a bank account. I have to show identification to open a bank account, cash a check, or whatever else.
It is a fraud of a problem that Republicans have created, and you know that.
An ID. And going back to your point,
I know this conversation is not over, but unfortunately we're out of time. But thanks for making it so lively. I appreciate it very much. Thanks to both of you, Danielle Moodie Mills and Gianno Caldwell in Washington. Thank you both.